Hello and welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 64 for the week of October 29th, 2018. I'm your host, Saine Grey. With me is Dalsson.
I'm here. I made it somehow.
And
Hello.
Thel.
Darlings, you have to get your makeup just perfect or else it's not going to work.
Thel, you can't say that the gaping head wound is makeup. That ruins the effect.
Well, yes, but I'm not exactly dead, am I?
Also, there's no
Well,
makeup.
no. Yeah, there's no makeup.
I forgot to turn off my fan.
There absolutely is makeup, there's just not enough of it.
You have to be better at blending, Thel.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I know that you don't.
Unfortunately, my shit is like really overexposed right now. And also I don't have like a mirror, I'm like working with the webcam, which is a bastard.
I know that you don't wear makeup in your free time, but maybe if you started, you'd be better prepared for Halloween next year.
We're somehow even less prepared than last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously.
Which is
I don't know
surprising
how-
considering Thel didn't show up for half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, this is a basic idea of what I'm gonna look like on Halloween.
I look
Sort of.
underexposed. I feel like someone moved my lamp or something.
Maybe.
Probably me, that jerk.
Damn it, Sane.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a sticker, huh? Alright. So what we got?
So,
What we got?
what do we got?
What
Yeah,
we got?
Thel,
Who's
we
going
got?
first?
You're
Oh wait,
going
yeah,
first.
it's me. I keep forgetting. I'm the one who goes first.
You didn't go first
okay.
last week, so
So yeah, it's my turn. The first thing that I want to talk about is 2 weeks ago, right?
okay.
I talked about a show that I watched the first episode of. It was
yes.
called The Haunting of Hill House. I saw the first episode and I was very unimpressed. And I was very quick to say and explain, right? That
The House of
I had only
Hill.
seen the first episode. The reason that I really wanted to hammer that in, and because I didn't want to make a huge sweeping judgment, is because all that I had heard about this show was not it's good, not it's pretty good, but that it's really fucking good. Like that it is goddamn incredible. And I watched the first episode and I was like, you sure? 'Cause, I mean, it feels like a pretty basic horror thing. Like it feels like really standard right now. I mean, there's jump scares, there's some ghosts that show up. I mean, there's some people who do some things, but all of the character stuff feels kind of a little bit muddled. I can't do any facial expressions with this thing or else it'll fall off. And well, let me tell you something. The reason that I felt like this for the first episode was because of the fact that that's what the first episode was trying to do. It was trying to be a pilot that showed off what the show was going to be. And also it had to develop all of these, well, not develop, but introduce all of these 5 characters in one episode while trying to focus on one character. Because I understood what the rest of the show was doing after that. The first episode was the first of the first half of the show, which is the same events from all 5 of these characters' perspectives. Which I didn't get until the 3rd episode that it was trying to do it.
Oh, wait,
But-
explain that a little better. I don't understand.
Okay,
What do you mean?
alright, so Dalsson, you know how we were fucking talking about OKKO, because I'm gonna mention that because that's the most recent one that did that.
Okay.
It was the episode where Boxman went to the fucking villain ship and they crashed the party, and then the next episode was from the kid's perspective. It's like that, but for 5 episodes.
Oh.
And so it started, the first episode was very trying to focus on this one character who had written a book about the time that they were all haunted at Hill House. All of the fucking 5 siblings were haunted at Hill House. He doesn't fucking believe a goddamn word of it.
Okay.
And then it sort of follows in the rest of the kids' footsteps. And as I went along, I sort of, I watched the second one and was like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm seeing how this could get better. You know, there's some pretty spooky shit going on. It definitely cooled down on the loud noises. And the characters are getting interested. And then move on to the 3rd episode. All right, yeah, okay. 4th comes up. Okay, yeah, and just continuously ramping up the good shit to the point where I haven't seen the last 2 episodes yet, but this is one of the best shows on Netflix. It is fucking incredible.
Okay.
Every episode has gotten better and better and better. And a lot of people say that it peaked at episode 6, but I'm not entirely sure about that, though episode 6 was fucking amazing. Multiple 15-minute long shots that were very obviously meant to be like that, because you can see like the camera panning directly to someone's face just enough so that someone else is off screen so that they can be replaced with like their younger counterpart or something, or just be replaced with like nothing because they disappeared. These really, really fun camera tricks that it's like, oh yeah, no, they just actually did do that in one shot, didn't they? There weren't any clever cuts there. Good work. I haven't even gotten to the basic plot. So, The Haunting of Hill House is about a bunch of kids and their dad and their mom, who go live in Hill House as children, and then they get haunted. And then the rest of the show is them basically like putting together putting the pieces back together of their lives. You know, you got like everyone is attempting to deal with this in their own way, and you have like this cast of interesting characters. You like I mentioned previously, the guy who wrote the book about Hill House but doesn't actually believe in it as a coping mechanism. You have the lady who became a coroner because of some of the stuff that happened in Hill House. The psychic bisexual child psychologist. The guy who does heroin because of Hill House and is like just got 90 days sober when the Hill House just started coming back into their lives. And then the lady who had just a complete mental breakdown after one of the ghosts killed her husband.
I see.
And this show, while having some of legitimately very, very scary stuff, some of the best ghost designs I've seen in a very long time, and legitimately what is probably the best jump scare I've ever seen in anything, is more apt to make you cry than to scare you. And that's wonderful. You will see the ghost, and eventually you won't feel scared of the ghost anymore. You'll just feel really, really sad. You know the thing that I said about 8th grade when I talked about it, and I was like, this is just Lady Bird, but better. I feel this way about this. This is Hereditary, but better. And that maybe is only just because of the fact that it's like 10 hours long, so it has more time to develop the characters. But I feel like this does everything that Hereditary did, and did really well. Don't get me fucking wrong again. Hereditary is an incredible movie.
Right.
But I feel like this does all of the stuff that it was doing, and does it just that much better.
Good.
The Haunting of Hill House is fucking fantastic.
There's
again,
blood going up your nose, and it's very distracting to me.
Oh no, hold up. Let me just fix
on the other side, but
yeah. All right. But anyway, the point is, the point is, this is a very good show. Some people like the reason I was brought in is because people were I was getting banged on by this fucking show. It was haunting me after I saw the first episode. Like, you should fucking watch the rest of this show. It's apparently really good. There are articles declaring that it is the best thing Netflix has ever put out, and it's definitely up there. The Haunting of Hill House is fucking incredible. I don't want to say all that much about it because I believe that it's something
you have to experience.
Yeah, and we were talking about when we played Heliophobia, right? It was a game that we are gonna put out a video on later.
Yeah.
We were talking about nonlinear storytelling and how we sort of felt like Heliophobia was.
Why don't we just move on to Heliophobia and talk about it for a little bit?
Sure. Okay. I was going to use that to make a point about this, but sure, that's fine.
No, go ahead and make your point, but I'm just gonna change the tag.
In Heliophobia, there was a specific point that was it's a linear game told from like an almost like forced non-linear perspective, which is the weirdest fucking thing you've ever heard. This show does non-linear storytelling, The Haunting of Hill House, really, really well, because as we're going through all of these characters' experiences with like, you know, the couple of days leading up to a specific event, we also get bits and pieces scattered throughout of their like childhoods while they lived at Hill House. And that's like it does non-linear storytelling very well while it does its linear storytelling.
Right.
So yeah. Fucking incredible. go watch Haunting of Hill House. If you got 10 hours before Halloween, do yourself a fucking favor.
It's interesting to hear you like go completely face turn around on that.
Oh god, yeah, I
were,
almost like face turned around off the second episode because it just
you were like really like I think you're underselling how sour you were on it in the.
I don't think he was that sour.
A couple weeks ago, you were like, "Man, this is really boring."
I didn't get that impression.
Well, I think what I was mostly was when I saw it, I was like, the best way to put it was I was unimpressed.
Right.
Like I saw it and I was like, horror movies have evolved beyond this. We don't need to be doing this again. I feel like this is a little bit unnecessary. And then I actually watched it and I'm like, wow, this is very, very, very good. And this is exactly everything that I wanted to. I talked with Dalsson a little bit about it last night, because like I just finished the 6th episode, which is like the one that everyone goes apeshit about and has one of the saddest endings to an episode I've ever seen. And I told him, it's like, remember when we talked about the Babadook like last week?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how it's like, I was surprised to find out that the Babadook was just an actually good movie and not just a good horror movie, because it was like a story about a kid trying to deal with her autistic child, and also there was a monster. The mother trying to deal with an autistic child, and also there was a monster. This is a group of adults trying to deal with their shared childhood trauma, and also there's ghosts. But don't get it wrong, there are very much actually ghosts. The ghosts may also be, metaphors for their childhood trauma.
But they are definitely real ghosts.
But they were the trauma, and they were ghosts. And
whereas
these kids who are psychic,
I feel like in Babadook it was a little more nebulous.
Yeah, it was a lot more nebulous. In Babadook you could read it either way, but in this show there's fucking ghosts, and they physically killed these people.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, Haunting of Hill House, fucking incredible. It's up there with goddamn BoJack. I would say better than Stranger Things. Really, really fucking good. Go watch it.
That's a pretty high flung review there. So.
And I will stand by it. Fight me. This is the hill I will die on. Hill House.
Yeah, you'll probably die. Because the ghost will get you.
I feel like horror for me is this weird thing where I simultaneously like it and don't like it. So I'm like not at all interested in this series for some reason, but I don't know why or what it is, you know?
Well, here's the thing, Saine, and this is another thing that I wanted to say about it. So, excuse me, I got something in my throat. I don't want to cough because then the thing will come off.
You might as well just take the thing off, honestly.
Yeah. So, one of the things you asked me, when you talked about Hereditary, you were, I'm not very interested in watching Hereditary because you were like, I don't know if I want to watch, like, another one of these fucking supernatural goddamn horror things. And I was like, I can completely understand that, and maybe Hereditary isn't super right for you, because in the end, it sort of devolves into just a regular-ass supernatural horror thing. I would recommend this. Absolutely watch this over Hereditary if you're sick of supernatural horror and feel like it's played out and boring, because it was like the fucking My Hero Academia thing. It takes, where My Hero Academia takes shonen anime and just makes it really, really good. This takes ghost movies and just makes them really, really good. Like, goddamn, it's incredible. I can't talk this up enough. It's really hard to talk about because
I just can't.
There's a lot of.
I don't know that I'll have the time investment for it, just because I
Yeah,
haven't finished the second half of Luke Cage still.
Yeah,
I haven't watched the latest season of Daredevil. I wanted to watch the last season of Iron Fist as well, because supposedly it got better a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, there's that Sabrina show that's coming out that I want to watch.
It came out.
Is it out now? Okay.
Yeah, it's out. It came out like Friday.
I thought it was supposed to come out on a Halloween.
Nah,
yeah, I thought it was coming out in November, but I guess not. Maybe that was the other one.
It is out now.
There's also the second season of Castlevania is out. I haven't watched that yet.
But that's got to be like the first season was what, 4 episodes?
But still, I mean, like,
I
have this huge long list of shit that I want to watch, and I just haven't had
a backlog.
time to watch any of it. So I don't know that I want to tack on The Haunting of Hill House when I'm not that immediately interested in it.
Right.
Fair enough.
At this point.
But yeah.
Right.
And one thing again that I feel like I understated earlier. I just sort of like said it almost like a blanket statement, and I don't think it came off as like entirely serious. The last episode I watched had the best jump scare I have ever seen in anything. Like,
yeah, I heard you say that.
It is incredible. This show breaks the fucking rules.
What about the guy who jumps out of the oven in Resident Evil 4?
Oh.
I don't even remember that.
All right.
No, but for real, it's fucking incredible, and you'll see. I'm surprised that Flashgen didn't go absolutely apeshit about it, but when I mentioned it to him, he was like, "Oh yeah, it was, huh? Pretty fucking good, right?" I was like, "Shit, dude, shit, fuck, it was a good ass show."
I feel like everyone I've heard say anything about it had not watched very far in it yet, so they didn't really have that many thoughts. They were like, "Yeah, it seems pretty good."
Yeah.
And then, this is the first time I had heard anybody who had, like, gotten more than halfway through.
Right.
But yeah, Flashgen was specifically badgering me about it. You guys were there. We were doing, like, fucking Halloween movies, and he was like, "Hey, Thel, you watch the rest of Hill House?" I'm like, no, I haven't. It's really good. I'm like, okay.
You're
and
like,
it was, and I'm glad I did.
I'm gonna be real, I don't really I don't really trust Flashgen's opinion.
I agree.
That's kind of weird because like I feel like when he's talking about movies, the man's got pretty good taste. I trust.
That's because his taste is very similar to your taste.
That is true.
But I think I trust your taste more than his taste, and I think you're similar enough that I just disregard his and listen to you.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, he was going to bat for it, and I watched it, and he was definitely right. Like this, I would recommend this to everyone. Grandma, she's gonna love it. Fucking Pop, he's gonna go off his shit for this.
Okay.
So yeah, Haunting of Hill House, fucking glowing goddamn recommendation. Watch the shit out of it now.
You say that, but neither of my grandparents like horror, so.
All right, that's fair. That's completely understandable.
I'm imagining trying to show it to my grandma, and this like jump scare will pop out, and she'll be like, "Oh, well, that's
the
spooky
thing.
little face there."
The jump scare. That's one of the things that makes the jump scare that really work is like after the first episode, there's not a lot. There's a couple. Oh yeah, again, like I said, ghost designs are great. One specifically in like the Luke episode. It was just this really simple ghost. He floats above the ground like a couple inches. He is a very big, lanky man who walks purely with a cane, and it's spooky as hell, and I love him. Oh, and another thing that really got me interested is the fact that the director would just legitimately hide ghosts in the frame, just randomly. He would have like extras go in the frame with like a ton of makeup and just stand there, and they're really hard to see. So you get like screenshots of the show posted online with like the red circle circling like a ghost face.
And
then
it's a GIF and a bigger ghost pops out at you.
No, well, not this time, but I mean, it's basically one of those. It's wonderful. He just does this. This is Mike Flanagan, the guy who directed the one Ouija movie that people were like, "Wow, this is actually pretty good." He directed Hush and the Gerald's Game movie, which was apparently really good that I've never seen.
I think I've seen Ouija.
Ouija Origins of Evil was the one.
Yeah,
Ouija's
I
good,
actually definitely did watch that. It was okay.
Yeah. It was the one that everyone was like, "Wow, I expected this to be absolute fucking garbage," but it was okay.
Huh.
And since then, like apparently people were going absolutely crazy about how good Gerald's Game was.
I was wondering if they were gonna make make some Hasbro crossover stuff in it. I don't think they did.
I think a Ouija board is Milton Bradley, isn't it?
No, it's Hasbro, I think. I think Hasbro owns basically everything now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh no. Oh, Transformers! Optimus Prime!
Well, you say that, but the Transformers movie had a pony in it, so.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, dude, you are right. It also had Beats Audio in it. In the same scene.
I know, it was awful. Anyway.
Coca-Cola TM. Uh,
I think they went with Pepsi actually.
I think they went with Pepsi like Taco Bell did.
Well, in
Taco Bell.
in fairness, I'm
placement
pretty
with
sure
Taco
that
Bell.
was McDonald's fault that they went with Pepsi. But
Understandable,
not
yeah.
Pepsi's fault. Anyway,
Right.
what's next?
We're gonna talk about heliophobia.
Yeah, that's right. We were going to talk about heliophobia. Heliophobia, for those of you who are already asking, means fear of the sun.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem to really have a lot to do with actually what's going on.
Literally
in the game.
nothing. If anything,
Literally
the
so far
sun.
nothing.
Well,
if anything, the
there's-
sun is supposed to be the thing that saves her at the end. Supposedly.
Yeah. There's one line that's like, you won't get out of here until you find the light, or something like that.
So you like
Here's
actually
a
see
good
the sun
thing
or
that
something.
Here's a good thing that they could have called the game, and that would have sort of resonated with the rest of it. They could have called it the Gemini Room.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's two
Yeah, but heliophobia sounds like a better name.
for a horror game.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, they just needed to pick a phobia. They should have just picked a better one.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it.
Gemini phobia. A fear of people who fall under the astrological sign of Gemini.
There's also
And
that
also
hydrophobia
Soul,
game, which was not a horror game.
Yeah. They stole
Anyway.
the name right out from under Subnautica.
Yeah.
Subnautica had to make a new name.
I think
So
Subnautica is a better
heliophobia.
phobia than, or a better name than hydrophobia, though.
It's true. So, Saine, you were the one who actually was
Yeah.
playing the game. How do you feel about it?
You know, I thought it was above average for that kind of like low tier indie developed horror game.
Horror game. Yeah. I feel like we are tainted by we played mostly bad ones on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's okay, so it's no Amnesia, right?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel like Amnesia is kind of the sort of the gold standard
Mhm.
Sort of.
for
feel
what
like
you think
games have
about
done
in
a
terms of
little bit
indie
better
games, though.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
like, 'cause-
indie horror. Yeah.
Because I don't tend to include like Soma or Alien Isolation.
Same guys that did Amnesia.
Yeah, but after Amnesia, they're not like
I still haven't
Amnesia
played
kind
Soma.
of made them more notable. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean they'd been doing
they did
Penumbra,
the
I
Penumbra.
think.
on the
Yeah.
series, yeah.
But I don't think they were notable until they did Amnesia.
Yeah.
And
it's
after
funny,
Amnesia, then people paid attention to like Soma, so they were kind of in a different class, sort of.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny
But-
because I played Penumbra and like I'm like, wait, this is just Amnesia. This is the same game as Amnesia, and it was because it was the same developers. So it's funny that Amnesia was the one that got so popular when Penumbra, for all intents and purposes, gameplay wise, was the exact same game.
I think it was just right place, right time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And I would say the gameplay in this is relatively similar to Amnesia as well. You're kind of there's non-spooky sections where you're just kind of solving puzzles.
So,
Worrying about the fact that there will be a monster.
so here's
Sometimes there isn't.
here.
Sorry.
I'm the one who played it, and here's kind of what I was thinking about it. So Thel kind of alluded to this in the last section about how it has this non-linear storytelling thing going on, where you kind of pick whatever order you want to play in, but
The
instead of
linear
it
story.
instead of it being kind of like random, like I thought it was.
Yeah.
Reading the description of it, it ended up being like you choose kind of what order you play it in.
Yeah.
The problem with
which is
that
nice.
is, actually, I think it's worse for it.
I think
But-
that
Okay. I mean,
I think that you might unlock like a couple story segments in a random, but you can choose between those segments.
Yeah, but you know what order it's in, though. Like, I think
Right.
that's the biggest problem. You know what order it's in, so it's like, okay, let's pick the earliest one we can because it's the earliest one.
Right.
And
Whereas
I think what
if like the doors had been in a big circle or something,
right,
it would have
And-
been right.
and not in any discernible order. And I think, you know, but on top of that, I think it's hurt even more by the fact that some chapters have like monsters in them really early on, and then like, so what ends up happening is by the second or third time you're running into monsters, they're not scary anymore.
Yeah.
I think that after that one, the most scared I was the whole time we were playing it was that one where I had to sneak into the rooms to find stuff while it kind of patrolled.
Right.
And after that, I basically wasn't scared of them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were just more of a nuisance.
But I feel like that particular level, like just from having watched, I feel like that particular level, like the monster was like the scary aspect of the level, whereas I feel like when they placed monsters in other levels, they were more like gates as opposed to something that was there to generate fear.
But I think you could, like, I might have been as afraid of it if I did the one where you're going through the sewers first.
Right.
Where you're running from them and sliding through holes and stuff to get away from them. But by that point, I wasn't scared of them at all. So,
because you were like, well, they're going to catch me and kill me and I can just start over. Yeah.
And then there's other ones where, you know, you have to throw bottles to, like, attract them with sound. And I wasn't afraid of them at that point either.
Yeah.
Plus, because you're pulled out of the game to go to this weird lobby and then go back in, it breaks a lot of the atmosphere.
Right.
So it's like at the start of every level, it's like, okay, where am I now? What am I doing? So it's like they have to rebuild up the ramp up for atmosphere in every level every time.
Right. So now, see, I think there's something interesting about that. I don't know if you guys took the same thing out of it, but we got to what we thought was the end of the game and turned out to actually just be the halfway point. I'm actually kind of excited to see what happens at the second
I'm
half.
more interested in the second half. The first half I thought was kind of bad. Not bad, but like not good. Mediocre. And then the second half looks like it will have all the actually interesting stuff in it. So,
well, see, the things that it reveals about the actual story, right? Like the first half, you're going through this like non-linear, and you're like, why? The whole time we were saying, why is this even non-linear? It's pointless. They have a linear sequence of events here that we can go through linearly, but they just make us not do it.
Yeah. Well, and the story does have a reason.
The story,
for that.
yeah. So the story does kind of go up and reveal a reason for it, and it's not like one of those like, oh, this is the ham-fisted reason we made up after designing
No,
it
completely makes sense.
I kind of feel like it was ham-fisted. Like it was,
but that's like the whole concept of what's happening.
But it felt like they came up with something to justify this stupid design decision. That's how it felt to me.
The thing that I feel like is that they came up with the story and the design decision first, because the thing is, the design decision doesn't really feel fully realized. Like, they advertise it as like a fully non-linear story where every experience is different. It's like this linear story about a single character told from a bunch of different chapters. So it feels like they had they watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and were like, I want to do that, but a horror game. And
it just feels like a horror game on shuffle play.
Yeah, it really does. And like, anyway about it, whether or not the reason for it was hand-fisted to justify the thing, and whether or not the thing was justified was sort of fucked up because of the reason. The problem is that it doesn't really work the way that it advertises it.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's just worse.
I would say,
I think it's just worse for it because it pulls you out all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't have time to, because like Amnesia, right? Amnesia has like a bunch of different chapters. Like you get to like the height of the scary in one chapter, then it'll start a new chapter. You're off clean, everything's fine for like a couple minutes. You go around in rooms, and then it slowly builds up the tension again. You know, in this game, you're thrown in the middle of something with all of the chapters.
That makes sense, I guess.
I think it's just jarring.
So what I want to say about it though is that, like, I know this isn't going to change how you feel about it, but it doesn't really. The thing, like that lobby room with all the doors, that also is something you're physically doing. It's not just like a game mechanic. Like, that character is experiencing that at the same time. So like, I was kind of looking at it from that perspective. Like, this character is also going through each thing out of order. It's not just like a way that the game justifies it to you. It's part of the story.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I just feel like it hurts itself for no reason to do it that way.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I just it doesn't add enough, and it feels like even if they have a good reason for it in universe or whatever, it just seems pointless still.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it doesn't feel justified enough, especially just because of the fact that like if this it would you know what it would be a lot better. Because one of the problems I have with it that I felt like I was comparing it to Haunting of Hill House is like Haunting of Hill House does it really well because it's like these same events from a bunch of different people's perspectives and scattered around a series of episodes. This is a direct line series of events from a single person's perspective, just out of order. If
So,
it was like,
so maybe it would have been better if, like, for one segment you're seeing what happened to this character, and then in another segment, maybe
to
like,
another character on the other side of the world, or
while that character
like,
is trying to find Gao Lung, I think his name, or Gao Feng.
yeah, like
Like, you might
someone's
see
running
what
around trying
happens
to
to
find
him.
Gao Feng. Someone's learning about JF. Someone's being haunted by the monsters. And there's like all of these things that all converge in the end. Or alternatively, instead of doing one character that's a long series of events, do a bunch of different bits in this character's life that have to do with the end results.
Yeah, I was gonna
Instead,
say
it's
that.
just like
Like,
it starts here and ends here.
yeah, it was.
Right.
It would have been better if it was even a little bit more ambiguous, so you had to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But because not only do you have the order that it's supposed to be in, but
Right.
at the beginning and end, you have very clear markers of why, like, where you came from and where you're going next. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's super obvious. Like, from one, it's like you're in the bar and then you leave through the sewers, and the next one it's like you're in the sewers and you're trying to get out of the sewers, and it's like it's super obvious. It's too obvious. It's like it doesn't gain anything from being out of order because it doesn't make you wonder or consider why or be confused at all. You know exactly what's happening even though it's out of order. I just had to make a mental checklist about where things went. So
yeah. I feel like for the first like one or two parts we didn't know though. But
yeah,
like,
but that I think that's
yeah.
because it had the greatest variance in like order. Because the
Yeah, I think
first
we
one
did,
was like the very beginning, and then we were forced to do like the 7th or 8th, and then come back. So
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean. It doesn't really like get anything out of that non-linear. I'm hoping that maybe the non-linear stuff will pay off a little more in this second section, because it looks like we're redoing all of the sections except with new and actually difficult puzzles, maybe.
yeah,
Possibly. I don't even know.
I
if it was,
hope
like,
I
the
hope
new-
that the next half gets wacky, like really weird. But
yeah.
I mean, it started to in the first little bit that we played of it. So.
yeah, but I just don't know that they can make good on that. I guess we'll see with the second half of it, but I don't know that they could recover from that. And it's not the worst thing, right? Like,
yeah, it's not
it
like
just
it ruins the whole game. It's just like it's pointless. to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
that
don't
makes
know.
sense.
And I don't know. Maybe we should have talked about it after we had played the whole thing, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do a double feature.
Yeah.
Probably what the video will turn into anyway.
I think it's worth trying though, probably, especially if you are really into these horror games, because it is kind of like puzzly and stuff. But
yeah, and it's nice because it gives you a breather every once in a while. Like in some segments, there's no monsters at all. You're just kind of solving a mystery, like trying to get into the golden dragon place.
yeah, doing
level.
that one after the
no
one where
monster.
I was like running through the house from the one monster was very reassuring.
Yeah. It's not like every single, like, what I thought was going to happen during that section was, like, you're going to get one of these clues, and then it's going to trigger a fucking monster that's chasing you all around while you're stressing out to get the rest of the clues. It didn't happen. You just had to solve the puzzles. It was like a riddle game. Remind me a little bit of, like, the Secret Worlds riddles.
Yeah, that level didn't even have any monsters in it.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Then there was other ones where I was so done with it by that point, like the one where you're running around turning on the generator for the elevator and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that one is just like, okay, I'll wait for the stupid dude to patrol.
Yeah, exactly. It turned into more of a stealth game by that point instead of a horror monster game.
It's like, and there was like a couple of things, like while I was playing through Amnesia, right, and then we played this game, there were a bunch of things in Amnesia, because we'd also played a bunch of spooky games, where I'm like, you know, the way that they did a good job making Amnesia is because I'm pretty sure they fucking play tested the shit out of that, play tested a bunch of things, and were like, this isn't fun. If we have the monster show up while he's doing the puzzle, it kind of fucking sucks. So it's like, yeah, every time you like grab a piece of like the puzzle or something, the monster shows up and it's like, oh, well, now I have to deal with this bullshit. But like every time like you have to do a puzzle, you're safe from the monster and and it's like, that sucks. But they probably had the monster come at you at one point in development and were like,
yeah, that's not fun. Now he just has to redo
this.
the whole segment because he didn't use our physics engine fast enough.
Yeah, or he didn't like fucking combine the things in his inventory or something, or like he had to figure this specific. There's like one point, there are like a couple points when the monster patrols, right? And the monster patrols around. And it's like you got to get across a bridge while he's not fucking looking, and it's like you get across that bridge, and it's like, okay, you're mostly good. You're fine. There are points in time where you're basically just totally safe from the monster. Like most of the game, you just have to wait for the monster to fuck off, and you're good.
Yeah.
Except for like there's one monster that's specifically designed where it's like, okay, what you got to do is you got to fucking lure it over here, because it doesn't use sight, it uses sound. So you got to throw fucking rocks, make sure you do it, and then it's like,
I feel like that is one of the worst things you can do to a horror monster is sit there and have to wait for it to walk by. Like, it's one thing to be trapped in a confined space. Like, that's why that one level of Heliophobia works. It's because you're stuck in a small area with that monster, and you have to, like, just sneak past it, right? But when you're sitting at a huge open atrium with a giant-ass bridge waiting for the stupid monster to slowly walk across the bridge, that makes you not scared of it.
it's even, like, still... in certain sections of Amnesia and like Alien Isolation, the monster is like actively hunting you, and you have to go and hide from it, not just wait to sneak around it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think
around it, like turning it into a stealth game, like that's a different game. It's not as scary.
Yeah, and I think that Amnesia does it pretty well for most of the game, but towards the end, I think it starts to falter. So.
Yeah. It's because I kind of get the buildup that they're going for in Amnesia. Like, there's more and more monsters. It's getting harder and harder, but like...
Actually, the monsters absolutely fall off after you get past the prison. Like, after you get past the prison, you basically hardly have to worry about anything. Until, like, the end of the sewers, where there's the one part where you have to sort of, like, trail the monster. But after that, like, the amount of monsters that you're gonna encounter, there's, like... After you get past the sewers, it's just the part near the end where you have to go through and, like, wait to cross the bridge. And then after that, it's pretty much nothing. It's like it like builds up to the prison, and the prison goes fucking crazy, and then it basically like, okay, we blew our load, so here's the rest of the story.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
That's how that game
Alien
feels.
Isolation did with the when was it? The hospital.
Medical bay.
Yeah, the medical bay.
Yeah. But up until that, like, so Alien Isolation is a little weird. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I haven't gotten past the hospital, and not because it was too scary. It was because it was too hard.
Did you play it on super
No,
hard
it was
mode
because
also?
it was because it was too scary.
Okay, yeah, understandable.
So, but all this stuff that I've heard about Alien Isolation, I had heard about Alien Isolation when it first came out, was like, oh, the alien's constantly hunting you. The alien is always placed in the world, and it can be anywhere. And then, like, it's like, I saw the alien at one triggered event, and then I was hiding from androids, and then I got to the med bay, and I'm like, oh, the alien is patrolling all around the med bay. This must be the part in the game where the alien actually starts hunting you. But I was wrong. He was hunting me the whole time. I just never fucking saw him.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like the med bay is like he's actively in the area. The thing about Alien Isolation is like if you do something, you can make him show up.
I never figured out how to do that.
The noisemaker is a specifically good way. There are like a lot of
yeah, but why would you want to? That's like
to kill.
Oh, let me tell ya, the noisemaker is one of the most fun things I've ever done in a video game, because there are a bunch of like after the hospital, there are a bunch of parts where you have to like hide from humans. So just throw a fucking noisemaker grenade in the middle of them, go hide in like the upper levels, and just watch the alien wreak havoc on them. It's
well, yeah, but if you want to, fuck with the game and mess around with it, but if your point is to get through the game, you kind of wouldn't want to ever see the monster if possible, right?
No,
theoretically,
like, that's not fucking with the game. Like, that's a legitimate mechanic. That's not like me
you're
just
like
being a
supposed
dickhole and fucking through the game. There are you could stealth around these humans, and it would be really hard. You could get in a firefight with these humans and kill them, or you could just summon the monster and have them deal with them. You have to deal with the monster.
I mean, it's a strategy, but like
that's easier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strategy, but my point was kind of that if it's hunting you the whole time, I don't know. It just seems like manipulating it in that way seems like an odd choice. But I haven't.
Yeah, but I mean,
anyway,
like that's all the noisemaker is good for. So
yeah,
like
it's legitimately. Why would
you
use the noisemaker otherwise? The game was made to be played like that. It was made to be played with like a bunch of different choices.
But that said, I still like. I played a little bit of Alien Isolation again, and again, aside from that triggered event, I didn't ever see the alien, and I hadn't gotten to the med.
And at that, and like before that point, there's not a lot of stuff that you can do.
That's what I figured.
And but after that point, it's basically like just constantly there.
Right.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah, horror games. It's good time to talk about them.
Yeah, I do like an Alien Isolation when you play on hard mode. If you hide in the same place too many times, the alien will get sick of your shit and just fucking kill you.
Figure it out, yeah.
It's like, bitch, you hit under that table 3 goddamn times, think I wouldn't fucking notice. That's breathing hard like that shit. I can smell you 12 million miles away. I was being nice, but I'm done. Playing hide and seek, you gotta fucking hide, bitch.
The first Fear game was a pretty good horror movie, or horror game.
Yeah, it was spooky.
After the first one, though, it fell off pretty hard.
Yeah.
By the third one,
game
it was
a fun action shooter.
Yeah.
A fun co-op action shooter where one of you gets to be a fucking ghost.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite shit about Fear 3. I played as the ghost, and a long time ago, I played this game called Geist.
Yeah.
Where you also play as a ghost, and man, that gave me I loved that game, and so Fear 3 really.
It was like playing Call of Duty and Geist at the same time, depending on who you're playing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I actually have I have a stack of old games in a crate, and that's where I lay my phone at night when I go to sleep, just on top of the crate of games. And I actually lay it on the copy of Geist all the time.
Good,
because that's like on top. Just randomly. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Smallfoot.
Okay.
Smallfoot?
Smallfoot. It was a animated movie.
Yeah. Before you talk about it, I want to talk about how I first ever heard of Smallfoot. Not too far before it actually came out, right? It had there's been a bunch of promotional stuff on it. One of the big things that I saw was it was a copy of Iron Giant in a supermarket that just had this little picture of what the movie was. It was the Iron Giant, and a big ass border was from the same fucking makers of Smallfoot. And I'm just imagining, could you fucking imagine owning a copy of the Iron Giant, except it just had this huge ass border that says for a movie that isn't even included with this fucking movie.
Are you thinking of the same movie? Because this movie isn't even out yet on... it's still in theaters.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. No, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I saw this before the movie even came out to theaters, and it had this huge ass border, and of course the movie was not included with the fucking Iron Giant. It was just this big ass advertisement for Smallfoot on this DVD of the Iron fucking Giant.
That's really weird.
And it was the worst shit I ever seen. I'm like, wow, this Iron Giant is a fucking great movie. It's a 10 out of 10 classic. Why are they gonna fucking make most of the cover Smallfoot?
Oh yeah, this is the movie that spawned that Zendaya is Michi.
Zendaya is Michi, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. So this movie when I first saw it, I saw a trailer of it. It looks very similar to Hotel Transylvania in art style.
Okay.
To the extent that I thought it was Sony Pictures Animation, which made me not be interested in it very much.
Right.
Is it Illumination or DreamWorks?
It's Warner Animated. So it's the same guys who did Lego Movie.
Oh,
okay.
The
Okay.
logo for it is actually done in Lego still, which is
Really?
weird. Yeah.
Well, it's their most popular movie, so.
Yeah, it's Warner Animated Media, I think, something like that. It was actually a lot better
Didn't
than I
Pixar get
expected.
their lamp from Toy Story?
No, the lamp
No?
predated Toy Story.
No,
didn't it?
yeah. The lamp
Oh.
was like the first animation test.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so this movie's about a Yeti, like a town of Yetis, right?
Okay.
I don't even remember the main character's name, but I'm terrible at names, so that's not like a knock against. I think it was Migo.
Yeah, Channing Tatum is Migo.
Channing Tatum as me. So initially they're kind of like talking about how great their life is and stuff in this village.
Go on.
Shut up. So it starts off with like the status quo being great. So that's what I thought was weird, was like it starts off with everything being perfect and stuff. And then the main character just goes to fuck shit up.
Oh!
I don't know, like that's not exactly what happens, but they like on their mountain, like because they're in the Himalayan mountains on a big mountain, and they have this like I don't know, like kind of pseudo-religious story about how they're on giant yaks and like they're on a mountain in the clouds and there's nothing below the clouds, and you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But a plane crashes on the top of the mountain and a human is there and freaks out because he's seeing this giant Yeti, and the Yeti's freaked out because it's like, what is this small foot? Because apparently there had been, you know, like ghost stories or whatever, essentially about humans.
Instead of Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like a reversal on that, which was kind of funny. But you know, and from there, you know, that leads him into questioning the religious kind of fundamentalism that they have going on, which gets him banished, and then he goes to find proof of what he found, essentially. So it's kind of like a what?
You know what that reminds me of? Like, even from the theme of being in the middle of the fucking snow land is a fucking Happy Feet story, including the way you described it. Everything is fantastic and perfect and ideal, and then the main character has brain damage and goes and fucks everything up.
But you know, it's like, it's kind of a story about questioning dogma, right?
Right.
He essentially gets banished for contradicting their like origin story, and I almost feel like the town elder or whatever could have nipped that one in the bud if he handled it differently, but instead he was like, "You're banished. You can't come back until you decide that you are lying," essentially.
Yeah, if he had just been like, all right, everybody, this guy's an idiot, he can stay, then he wouldn't have gone on his quest to find humans.
Yeah, essentially. So from there, he runs into he goes down to under the clouds or whatever, finds out that there's actually like stuff down there, right?
Yeah.
And then he runs into a Steve Irwin type.
Okay.
This guy is basically a just like kind of a parody of Steve Irwin, except that he is really, really broke and his show has poor ratings, so he's trying to find a way to like yeah, to like capitalize on something in order to make him famous again, is essentially
and then he just happens upon a Yeti.
Well, it's even worse. Initially, he gets a Yeti suit, and he's gonna, like, fake a Yeti. And then he accidentally runs into the real Yeti, doesn't think it's real at first, and like, ends up being kidnapped by the Yeti.
Jesus.
All right.
You know, and that's kind of, like, the principle of the movie. From there,
Right.
it's just, like, it kind of goes on in that direction. But it actually had really good, like, writing. Like, I was surprised by how good the writing was.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you look at this, like, the animation style in this type of movie, and it's like,
You expect
maybe I'll skip
bad.
this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to think,
Dismiss.
oh, this is like a B-tier DreamWorks movie, or like a Sony
Yeah.
animation movie, and
Right.
kind of just write it off. But it is
kinda looks
actually a
like
lot
that.
better than that.
Okay,
What?
good.
You know what? And this is only slightly on topic. I was going to say it's off topic, but it's not exactly. One of the things that was pointed out to me recently, Phil Miller and Chris Lord, the guys who directed the Lego movie, have not had a movie released since the Lego movie. And they were slated to direct a ton of shit, all of which has been redirected and reshot.
Well, the Lego Movie 2, I don't know if they're working on the second one, but that one
No,
got
they're
a trailer.
absolutely doing the Lego Movie 2, and they don't have a movie slated aside for the Lego Movie 2.
That one
probably were thrown into the Lego movie pit.
They got thrown in the Hollywood pit. Hollywood's like, oh shit, you guys make movies. And they were like, we don't want to do what you say. And they're like, fuck you! You have to!
I don't know, from the trailer of the second Lego movie, that looks pretty fucking good too. I sort of can't wait. But
these guys, like, these guys are not bad at their job.
Yeah.
No.
Hollywood just doesn't like them because they probably just don't like Hollywood.
Yeah.
Meh.
Makes sense.
Or it's just like they wanted to do other things, but then they were promised too much money to not. It's also possible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I said they got thrown into the Lego movie pit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was surprised by how good the writing was. It has some musical numbers which are kind of bordering on like corny, but also kind of good. So you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
It walks that
I know
line.
exactly what you mean.
So I don't know. Like none of the characters act in odd ways. Like everybody kind of like you can kind of see why everyone's doing what they're doing. And kind of the central conflict about this dogma isn't presented in a way where anyone's really the bad guy. So it's kind of ambiguous about what you're supposed to think about different characters. So in the end, when things get wrapped up, you don't feel like any of it was cheap because you felt like everybody came to the position they ended the movie in. Like everything felt earned. It didn't feel like they're wrapping it up because at the end of the kids movie, everything has to be happy story. You know what I mean?
Everything feels like it went from point A to point B in a very
logical way,
organic way. Yeah.
Right. Good.
So, and I think that's one of the, like, writing is one of the biggest places where these animated movies can really fall down.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the animation looks fine and looks great, whatever.
Yeah.
But
like legitimately, the best thing I can say about the Hotel Transylvania movies, and I hate the writing in them, is that they look really good.
I thought the writing in the second Hotel Transylvania was pretty good because it focused more on character dynamics.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas in the first and third one, things just happen. You know?
Right.
Yeah, like, I don't know. This movie didn't feel like an excuse to be funny. It felt like they were trying to tell a story and they told it. So
okay, good. Now I have a very important question.
Sure.
What role does the character that Danny DeVito plays play?
He plays Migo's dad.
Oh, okay.
And he's actually a pretty fun character, so.
Yeah, of course he is. He's voiced by
Danny DeVito.
The last time
been tall.
The last time
it's a burden being tall.
The last time they got Danny DeVito to play an actual gremlin monster was in the fucking My Little Pony movie. So he's back in his element with this movie.
There was a well, he was like, there was this line. It was like, So the character Migo and his father,
Mhm.
who is Danny DeVito,
Mhm.
their job in the village is to ring the gong by shooting themselves out a slingshot and hitting it with their head.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Alright.
So at one point, they're like
I
Migo's
can see
asking
that
him.
scene playing through my brain as you described it. I'm just like,
See, I
Ah,
can see that
yes.
scene playing through my head, except with Dennis and Frank Reynolds.
But
Frank, no, we're not gonna shoot ourselves out of a fucking cannon to ring the gong. But you gotta ring the gong as part of the tradition. No, that's stupid. We're not gonna do that.
But anyway,
Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Migo's like, or asks his dad, so like, did you used to be taller? And he was like, yeah, I used to be taller than you, but after a few years of this, I had to work hard to get to my stature.
Yeah, all right.
So it was pretty good. Yeah, overall, it was a lot better than I expected. Like, it's not... Like, this isn't going to be an animated movie I think everybody has to watch. I'm not going to recommend it the same way I recommended Lego Movie or even the Batman Lego Movie, right? But it's definitely pretty... Like, it was pretty surprisingly good, and it's pretty above average when it comes to the kind of the B tier of a lot of these.
Yeah.
You know, like DreamWorks put out Boss Baby. I think that was their biggest, most recent one, right?
That was fucking made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I saw it. It was not great, but it was not as bad as you might expect either.
To the point, I remember like it was the first like memes I was seeing about like give me your fucking credit card number were like Boss Baby. The Boss Baby needs your help. Find your mommy's special money card and give us the numbers on the front and the 3 numbers on the back. I was like, this is fucking hilarious.
But I think Boss Baby was one of those movies that was a premise in search of a joke.
Yeah.
Whereas this felt more like a premise and then jokes followed the premise. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And there was only one poop joke the whole movie, so.
Oh, good. I mean, you have to have one. It's
well,
required.
2 if you count them coming back to it at the end of the movie, but
That's one joke. That counts as one. That's fine.
it's like one and a reprisal, right? Anyway. Yeah,
Alright.
so it was pretty good. I recommend it if you watch a lot of animated movies. It's definitely like not super worth skipping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
after that, do you want to talk about what we watched to Daredevil, Dalsson, or we want to save that?
No, let's save Daredevil until we've finished it. Maybe
Okay, sounds good.
With it too.
Yeah. But I will say so far it's really, really good, and I love it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's not as good as Hill House, but it's pretty damn good.
Does it tie in at all with the other series so far?
I have not seen any
Defenders?
of them.
Okay.
Other than the fact that
the
other
other guys.
they, like
I mean, other than
something happens with Daredevil at the end of Defenders that obviously has to tie in.
I know. I'm pretty sure that the thing you're talking about is something that happened at the end of season 2 of Daredevil.
No, I'm asking more specifically the ones I haven't seen.
Because
I want to know if I can watch Daredevil without
it has
catching up on everything
nothing
else.
to do with Luke Cage.
It has absolutely nothing to do with anything else. It is purely
I'm
Daredevil
pretty sure it doesn't even really have much to do with Daredevil season 2. Like I think they call back to it once or twice.
No, the thing that you're thinking of that was Defenders was actually Daredevil season 2. I think. I'm pretty sure.
No, Defenders takes place. It's when he gets buried under a fucking building.
Yeah, and that was what. Yeah,
that was at the end of Defenders.
Was it? I could have sworn that also happened at the end of like defeated the dudes with Elektra.
They found that stuff at the end of season 2, and then dealt with that stuff in Defenders. So it was kind of both. It was a plotline that started in season 2. They did stuff in in Defenders, and then
and then
I think that they go back to it a little bit.
The reason that nobody even knows he's still around is because they think he's dead. From Defenders.
Okay.
I don't think he wore the. Didn't he not wear the? Oh, I don't know. Whatever.
No, he had the suit at the end of Defenders. I think it got destroyed. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what's going on there.
Maybe I'll rewatch Defenders because I liked it.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to remember because I could have swore the stuff they were talking about happened in season 2 because I was feeling like it's like they just completely forget about Defenders. I thought, isn't this the stuff that happened at the end of season 2 when Frank started shooting the guys and they fucking like toppled? Because I could have swore they toppled a building at the end of season 2 too.
No, they just killed
like the same guys.
Oh no, they definitely blew up a building in Defenders.
Okay,
because that's why Misty doesn't have an arm in Luke Cage.
Yeah, remember they were trying to leave that building, and Daredevil was like, "Oh fuck, somebody has to blow up the bomb manually or something like that," and he stayed behind when they blew up the building.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Defenders, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, I was trying to be non-specific, but Thel was not remembering.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So if it follows Defenders, then I don't have to worry, I guess.
It follows Defenders and like none of the other like shows even intersect with this one. Like Iron Fist intersects with Luke Cage a little bit because he shows up in a couple episodes or like one episode.
They talk about him a lot too. They're like, "Have you talked to Danny? You should talk to Danny." Stuff like that.
Yeah, and Daredevil doesn't even fucking talk about anyone.
You know, Danny Rand would just straight up pour money into like Harlem's renovations and shit too if Luke Cage asked him.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to think of because it's like I understood like Danny showing up in like Luke Cage. Like I can't imagine like especially the 3rd season of Daredevil, Danny Rand just showing up like Daredevil is going through this like fucking mental breakdown and Danny Rand just shows up with like a pair of chopsticks. He's just eating fucking ramen out of a bowl and is like he's just like wearing his pajamas like, yeah, dude, fucking sucks.
You know the stupid thing about the plot of Iron Fist is everyone in that series would have been so much better off if they had just been like, just take a bunch of money and do whatever you want. Like we'll just hire you on as this role that you don't have to do anything and just go spend money. Be a or be our, philanthropist guy. Like, but instead they're like, no, we want to get him out of the company. Like, he doesn't deserve to be. It's like, shut up. Just give him money and like ignore him.
Yeah.
Like everyone would have been so much better off. Half of the characters wouldn't have died. Like,
but in fairness, I don't think anybody really believed he had the power to punch you so hard you explode.
That doesn't matter. He's the fucking rich kid who is the son of the person who founded the company. Just give him some money and we'll ignore him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, like a lot of problems, now that you're thinking about it, in Daredevil Season 3 could be solved with Danny Rand's money.
Yeah, but I don't think that even in Defenders they really established that that Matt Murdock and Danny Rand were friends. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like Luke Cage and Danny Rand kind of became friends, but Matt Murdock was just kind of a dick to everyone in that series, which is fine, but that doesn't really garner very much, hey, can you give me some money?
Danny Rand was there, Luke Cage was the he was the Boy Scout. I was about to say boyfriend, but that's not the right word.
I mean, you're not wrong though.
Yeah. Luke Cage was the boyfriend. Jessica Jones was being drunk, and Daredevil was just pissed off all the time because of the fucking psychic ninjas, and nobody believed him about the crazy's magic ninjas.
Oh,
the fucking magic ninjas!
Except for Danny Rand, who was also like, yeah, dude, there's fucking magic ninjas.
Fucking magic ninjas, dude.
Jessica Jones was funny.
Fuck up, there's magic ninjas. Yeah, I'm on your side. Shut the fuck up. No, but shut the fuck up. Guys, just magic ninjas.
Jessica Jones was funny because she was like, she was drunk, but also, hey, but I'm back to save the day.
Yeah.
Drives the car through the fucking side of the building like, hey guys, what's going on? Oh, fuck, there is magic ninjas.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna beat them up.
Yeah, I remember after we watched Defenders, we spent so long talking about that scene where it was just like, she didn't drive the car through to hit somebody or save anybody. She just was drunk.
I mean, in the story, she absolutely did, but we were making jokes like, this woman had no idea this was going on. She just fucking crashed her car into the side of the building on accident. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to pay for that now. Oh fuck.
Oh, hey, I saved the day. Yeah, Jessica Jones saving the day again.
Jessica Jones, bitch. Jessica Jones, team Jessica Jones. It's me. I'm Jessica Jones.
If they did consolidate all of Marvel into just like the Defenders, and that was kind of their brand going forward, because they only want to make one show instead of like 6, That would probably be fine because I think she makes a very good ensemble character.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked her as an ensemble character. I don't know though. I kind of love all of these new seasons more than I love the Defenders. So I would be. I mean, while that would work, I agree. I would be.
Yeah,
but we already know that two are canceled, and I would rather have Luke Cage come back in some form of fashion.
Yeah, Luke Cage is already canned, so like, we're not gonna get a follow up to that story, unfortunately.
Unless they do an ensemble and make it about him. I mean, they did stuff like that in Teen Titans, so
yeah, fair enough.
You should still watch Jessica Jones season 2 though, because I think you would really like it.
Okay.
I've been meaning to watch it too.
And like the thing with the Marvel shows is they're not like constantly run by one person. Like they're constantly getting new showrunners for like every new season, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, they get good ones. So
I think I think maybe the one for Jessica Jones has been consistent though.
Maybe
I think that's the one exception. Maybe
I know Luke Cage had like a different director for every like episode, which is like not super surprising. A lot of times like it'll go on like an episode by episode basis, and they'll have like a different director for episodes, but the creators will generally be the same. Like the showrunners will be the same. You'll just have like other people offloading directorial duties while he focuses on the big bad ones. Right. But like this was like a different director every episode, and still followed like a followable plot, which is crazy, but fuck,
But you know, at the same time, it's like parts of Luke Cage didn't work, so it would make sense for them to replace it for season 2, and then season 2 is really good, and then it got canned, which is weird.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
So I don't know, like it is what it is, whatever the case. I don't know how we got into that. We were talking about Smallfoot earlier.
Yeah, we were talking about Smallfoot. I have no idea where that came
from. I think I asked about
something.
something.
We were going to not talk about Daredevil season 3.
Right, that's right.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then we talked about everything else. Is that it?
Yeah, why don't we take a break now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good idea. What time is it? How about 5:15? That's 6 minutes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, 5:15. We'll be back in a little bit. All right, we're back.
You know, I realized something before we left the thing. I never introduced this cup. I was gonna do it last time, but I never did. So, a couple weeks ago, I got another glass cup that held more stuff. This cup also holds more stuff. It is a much bigger and has a higher volume of tea that it can hold. The problem is it looks kind of silly.
It does look a little
I
silly.
love it.
It looks happy. It's a happy skull.
It looks very happy. It's a very happy skull mug. But I'm glad that I have like I have now a coterie of skull mugs, all who are friends and love each other. And I also have a big skull pitcher that I have next to my bed that I drink water out of at 2:00 in the morning.
As one does.
Mm-hmm.
As one does. It's the best thing you ever had.
We're gonna talk about Dragalia Lost for a while because we forgot to talk about it.
A second ago, we were like, we talked about everything, didn't we? Oh wait, immediately after we cut. Wait, guys, fuck. We forgot.
Yeah, I should have remembered considering I've put more time into this than anything else I've done this week. So, Dragalia Lost. I'll start with my thoughts on it since I have updated thoughts on it, and then Dalsson, you can give your thoughts after. That sound good?
What? I'm sorry, I was playing Dragalia Lost.
No.
That was a joke I made about RimWorld the first time I talked about it.
Shit.
Not fucking kidding that. We're gonna make that joke a million times during this podcast. It's gonna be a running joke.
Yeah, fair enough. So go on, Saine.
So one of the things I was saying last time was one of the things I liked best about the game was that different characters seem to have wildly different movesets.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've played a greater number of different characters, and I think that certain characters' movesets can be very fun. So I've actually sunk a lot more time into it since.
Yeah.
I still think there's a few too many currencies, but I do understand a lot of them better now, even if I still think there's too many.
Right.
You have currencies for like only learned about more currencies since last week.
Yeah,
so.
the way that it works, like I feel it's kind of simple, but like it's simple to understand, but there's too many. Like, because each currency is for a different thing. You can upgrade weapons with one currency, dragons with another currency, and they have like 4 different types of currencies you can upgrade them with. Adventurers are a different kind of currency, and then crafting weapons costs a different kind of currency than upgrading weapons, including upgraded crafted weapons.
No, dude. Adventurers are even worse because not only do they have the currency for leveling them, they also have the currency for unbinding them, which is a different currency, which you have to get through certain things.
You have to use mana to level up their mana circle enough to unbind them.
Right. So it's like there's just like mana and there's another thing that you need to promote them, which is Eldwater. So it's just like, by the way, I found, Eldwater is how you move them from a 3-star character to 4-star character, by the way. I now know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I totally didn't know last week. I still think there is like a tier list, but I think it matters significantly less than it does in a game like Fire Emblem Heroes anyway.
Yeah.
But there are obviously characters that are better for playing with other people than other characters, so
yeah. Fire Emblem Heroes tier list exists solely because of the PvP mode anyway, right?
Right.
So, and there's no PvP.
Well, not exactly, but certain characters are just more useful, like straight up. But also the arena kind of makes a huge difference in that tier list, whereas this there isn't direct PvP, there isn't PvP, so all that's considered is how good they are as co-op partners. And certain characters are certainly better than others, but, you know, at the same time, it doesn't matter as much. And there's also additional currencies for upgrading your town.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's not that complicated, and the more you play, the more you start to learn about it. But it's like, there's just too many.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that when they were designing it, they weren't thinking of them as currencies. They were thinking of them as crafting materials. But if it's a crafting material and it's only useful in one thing, then it's a currency.
Yeah. But I guess that's not the biggest deal. It's just annoying and confusing.
Yeah.
At least there's only one paid currency.
Yeah.
There's also stamina, and then energy, which is different from stamina. But I don't know what energy does because I've never run out of it. But I forget. I don't know. The little blue lightning bolts.
That's for co-op. You have a separate stamina bar for co-op.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Also, do you know why my stamina bar goes up when I do stuff sometimes?
When you level up, it refills your stamina. If you have full stamina, it will give you your entire stamina meter as an overcharge, essentially. So, like, say you have 24 stamina, then you will level up and you're at max stamina, so you get 48 stamina.
Interesting.
But obviously, it doesn't keep going up beyond that.
Yeah, for a while I thought it was like, does co-op give you more stamina for normal? Like, I totally didn't understand that. So,
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, the more I've played it, the less the controls annoy me. They still annoy me, but I've been using auto battle less, especially since you can't use it in co-op. And I think that's really the thing that changed my mind about this game. The co-op is actually pretty fun. I don't really know why, other than the actual players are less stupid than bots, but I don't know, just something about it is, I don't know, it makes you think more about what you're doing. And they force you not to use auto battle, which I think helps, because when you're using auto battle, it's just like, it is basically playing itself, and at most you'll just override it occasionally. But when you actually have to think about it. What?
You know that thing that people always bitch about in video games where there's 2 branching paths, and then you go down one, you explore little ways, and you're like, oh, this is the correct way, so the other way must be treasure. Auto battle will always take you down the right path, so whichever direction it points me towards, I go the opposite way to get the treasure. And that's all I use auto battle for.
Yeah, I don't really use auto battle. Well, I've
Except
stopped
to
using
block.
auto battle as almost entirely.
Right.
I just wish, man, I wish I had a better daggers character because I really enjoy the daggers in that game. Kind of my go-to character, my main character that I play is the Halloween Alessandra character.
That's what everybody plays. That
Yeah.
I found in co-op.
It's funny because I think it's just because it's a 5-star that like everybody got if they played during that event, basically.
Yeah.
So like I only have one other 5-star character and I don't like her gameplay as much, so
Right.
also that character's really, really good because the effect on her weapon is after she uses her ability, it gives everyone a strength buff. And that stacks up to like 2 times or something.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
So she's really good, but
I kind of just let my team like optimize for whatever content I'm doing. And it's probably not optimal, honestly, but I don't really care.
I feel like it's I don't like the way that it optimizes. I think it's kind of bad, but
well, it optimizes it so that you get super effective against the map that you're playing. So I would rather have
but
that
the problem
than
is
extra damage resistance.
The problem is it'll often prioritize characters that already have experience.
Right.
So it'll do some weird stuff. And it'll put weird combinations of weapons and dragons and equipment on it. Stuff that you might not want to invest in. Like, it'll often put the wrong dragon on, and it'll often put the wrong worm print. At least for me. So I don't know. So I kind
of like how customizable the equipment is. Like the fact that you can have a different weapon and a different worm print and a different dragon all on a different character every time.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of cool. It almost feels like you know, like a normal dungeon crawler equipment screen. Not quite as involved.
This is kind of a problem only because the game's sort of new, but I wish there were more characters.
Yeah.
And that's funny to say because there's a lot of characters in it, kind of. But most of the characters are bad characters. So
yeah, well, speaking of wish there were more characters, I really like that every character is fleshed out. Like if you unlock a character's mana circle, you get a story about them. And the further you go, the more like extra stories you get. And it's just shit to read. But even including stuff like the baby fire dragon, like the baby fire dragon has a story that's all specifically about that dragon when you level it up enough. And like
I kind of like that.
Really
the only thing that makes me pause is I'm really afraid that that's going to get very expensive. Because you have to unlock the stories through the mana circle, which you have to, the only way you can get to a certain point is by unbinding. So it means you're going to have to unbind every level to get certain characters up. So there's no way you can do it for every character unless probably you spend money, because I just don't. At a certain point, you're going to run out of materials to keep upgrading that character. So
well, I mean, you can still farm for them, but it would take forever.
I think there's so many characters that there's no way that's possible, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I have like a really pretty dragon that I got out of a pull that I want to hear her story, and it's like, oh, she doesn't kill people. And I'm like that was her story step that I read, and it's like, oh, we're safe. It's okay. Even though we tried to steal from her, she never kills people. And then I'll go into a mission and just absolutely fucking annihilate everybody using that dragon. And I'm like, yeah, she never kills people.
You never fight people.
That's true. Yeah, you always fight demons, right?
I think they call them fiends. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever they are.
Yeah, so I don't know. I definitely turn around on that game quite a bit. I think Halloween events always help for me.
Yeah, Halloween events are great. I think.
Meanwhile, the Halloween events in Fire Emblem Heroes are trash right now. It's boring.
That sucks.
Halloween events in Monster Hunter is also trash, and I'm sad about that.
Well, we get Kulve Taroth in like 3 days, so that'll be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
If you can find 16 people that you know to play it with.
I have a gun.
What were you saying, Dalsson?
I think my favorite part of Dragalia Lost is the like heavy emphasis on story. Like even in Fire Emblem Heroes, they always have these like story segments, but they're like like even like event stories are like, oh, it's fun in the sun, summertime. I'm gonna use this book to take pictures of people who are almost naked. Woo! And that's the whole story. And it's like, wow.
I wouldn't count paralogs, but
yeah, whatever. You know.
I actually really like the main story.
I
Fire
do
Emblems.
like the main story.
I think the paralogs are just joking, whatever side shit. But
yeah,
this I don't know. Like at first I didn't like that because, like a lot of mobile games in particular, I want to try the game before I know whether or not I want to invest in it.
Right.
Invest time in it, and like I thought that because this game was kind of front loaded, I was having to go through a lot of story when I wanted to try the game.
Right.
And now that I'm at a point where I've played enough of it and I feel comfortable with the game, I'm like, okay, let's back up and read some of this stuff now.
Right. Yeah, so like how far have you gotten in the story, saying like what chapter?
I just beat 3.
Okay.
So I have the fire dragon.
Okay, so like there is my fucking first complaint about the game's story or writing is that you save the fire dragon and she turns into a hot girl.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. No, that's the best thing about this game so far.
No, that's awful.
I will murder you.
I'm gonna turn into a hot girl. I like that when you're in like the play with the dragon, the Pokemon Ami dragon screen, she's like in the big dragon form and is like, wow, thanks, darling.
I'll fucking you take that back. I'll cut your tongue out. She is the best dragon.
She is the best dragon. I just don't like that she turned into a hot girl instead of just stayed a dragon. The rest of the dragons didn't do that.
Yeah, because she's special. She's
the girl
special
dragon.
And tsundere.
Listen, Dalsson. You know how in Fire Emblem,
she's a tsundere red-headed fire dragon.
I know, and she's great. And you fucking take it back. I'll kill you.
There are humans that turn into dragons in Fire Emblem, right? And that's special. She is a dragon that can turn into a human. So she's basically a dragon that can turn into a fantasy character.
And she's
actually they comment they do comment on that in particular, that in that universe a bunch of people turn into dragons, but she can turn into a person.
She's like, whoa, you can turn into a person? Can all dragons do that? And she's like, no, I just practiced.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Like,
one thing that is gonna kill me, though.
It's not that big of a deal, but like.
One thing that is gonna kill me though is that the Ellie character, who's my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
She's the water spear wielder, but she's also the Halloween one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She's super fucking tsundere for the main character, and I know that it's just gonna be fucking. She's never gonna get with him, and it's always gonna be this thing that she's never gonna be able to like.
Yeah,
move forward in that relationship ever.
Even playing through the Halloween event, she like tried to tell him, and then it stopped. It was like, oh god, we're under attack, and she was like, oh, I wasn't saying anything.
And it's like that fucking story is gonna lead me on forever because I want that to happen because she's so fucking cute, but I already know it'll never happen. This guy's gonna be fucking a hair. This is like a harem anime, is what's going on.
It is. It's gonna be like a harem anime. You got your dragon harem, you got your people harem, you got your weapon harem, and you can upgrade all of those using these thousands of currencies.
What if they had an update where you have to you get adventure stories for your fucking weapons, and they're like all magically possessed weapons and shit too,
and they're all tsundere for you also. I can't wait for the Valentine's Day event in this game.
You know, there's that there's a roguelike coming out, and I forget what it's called, but it's a sword dating sim.
Oh god.
Where you date your weapons. But it's also a roguelike, I think. And I really want that game.
I'm gonna be 100% real. This cross is holding on to my face a lot better than I thought it would. It's not coming off.
Good.
There might be a problem in a minute, but
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that that's gonna kill me because I want those characters. I want her to just. Man, if she even got rejected, I would be happy. But I know that they're gonna lead me on forever.
Yeah. So now that said, I don't think that this
Senpai,
story.
I love you. What was that? I didn't hear it. I said
don't-
I love you. Oh.
So presumably that Halloween event story takes place after the main story, so you know it's not going to happen in the main story.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about Dragalia Lost story, the story itself is not mind blowing or it's not going to blow you away or anything. Like
it's very
this
box
kid.
standard.
Yeah, it's this kid's an adventurer and he was the nice kid and your dad's evil and he has to go find all the dragons to bring down your dad. But like, I don't know, having those story segments in there and then having little segments that can delve deeper into particular characters' stories, especially characters that like, because the way it's designed is you unlock those stories by upgrading those characters. So you're going to get the stories for characters that you enjoy using. And then then they become a little more than just like a faceless protagonist that you get to play as sometimes.
Yeah. I do think that's cool.
So I think that it's nice to kind of break up the gameplay loop.
Yeah, but I just think by nature of how that game is, you're almost decentivized from playing too many different characters.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid that I'm gonna end up upgrading characters that I don't like to play because I want to know what their stories are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, there's characters in that Halloween event that I don't even know where they come from.
Yeah. Well, see, like, I feel like if I put enough time into it, that might start to be worth it because in Fire Emblem Heroes, I have like 200,000 feathers right now because I have one team that can challenge basically every bit of content in the game, and I have no idea who else I want to upgrade. I just don't want to.
You just build more teams. That's what I do. I have a dragon team, I have a flying team, I have a armor team. It's the thing about Fire Emblem Heroes is it's like taking on a project to build a new set.
Right.
The only problem with it is I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of bored with Fire Emblem Heroes, which for one, like, on one hand, one of the characters is kind of overpowered and I have no way to deal with it right now. So I just I'm not really enjoying Arena.
Mm-hmm.
So I just haven't been playing it. And then the other half of it is like the stuff that they haven't released any new events that have been that interesting because they have the Forging Bonds event, which kind of sucks because you have to play it so much to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Because you have to get like...
There's 4 characters, and then at the end of the fight, you roll one of the characters randomly to get...
Yeah, and you get like maybe 50 points, and to get the higher tier accessory, which all it is like a hat, you have to get like 15,000 points or something to get the high level hat. So like and even though you get orbs from playing it, I just haven't been doing it because I just don't care.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the Tempest is I really liked the Tempest when I first tried it, but now that I've played like 4 or 5 Tempests, it's like I play enough to get the character and I'm like, good.
Yeah, now it's just kind of a grind instead.
Yeah, so I feel like where I'm at with Fire Emblem Heroes is everything is a grind and I'm not really... I've run out of projects, sort of.
I feel like that's what Dragalia Lost might turn into, but for now, I like it. It's nice and fresh, you know?
Yeah. I feel like they can do more with Dragalia Lost, though, because even playing, like, the fire levels, which is Chapter 3, right? Those dungeon maps look different than the earlier ones.
Yeah, and they have hazards that you haven't seen before. Like, there were rolling boulders and like flame spouts on the ground, so they can design levels with that in mind too.
And they can just add like new bosses and new there's a lot of places to add content that they just don't have in Fire Emblem. I would almost like Dragalia Lost better on something that wasn't a phone though.
Yeah,
because I really don't like the control scheme, and I'm starting to tolerate it, but I just really...
I don't know if Dragalia Lost would work on something that's not a phone, because if you had it on like your computer, or even say the Nintendo Switch, you could still take it everywhere with you. If you had it on the Nintendo Switch, it's like, well, I could play this, or I could just play Diablo 3 instead.
I would play it over some other games, honestly. Like,
yeah. Well, like I don't know. I like it's very phone game from a design standpoint because of the way the grind and the way that you unlock stuff.
yeah, and I don't mind that. That's the stuff that I do like. I like all of the capture or the gacha stuff. I like that. I like the continuous feed of drip feed of content. That's what I like about games as a service stuff. I like the continual update schedule. The only problem and like this game being like a dungeon crawler-esque game gives me a lot of like stuff that I like and stuff that I actually care about working towards. The problem is I'm like my phone is overheating. My like it's not actually overheating, but it's like almost burning my hand at times. It just kills my battery. Like I don't even have sound on because it's just melts my battery faster. Like I would so much rather play this on the Nintendo Switch, honestly. Even if I was still doing the gacha shit, like I don't care. Like I would much prefer to play it with a controller, even if it's kind of a simple dungeon crawler. I've played simple dungeon crawlers before. Like it's not something that would bother me, but I don't know. They would have to mess with the control scheme, but I would. This makes more sense to be on Nintendo Switch than Pokemon Quest does.
Yeah.
So
especially because it's made by Nintendo.
Yeah. And Pokemon Quest is shitty on Switch, so
yeah, it's Pokemon Quest is really pointless on Switch because you don't fucking control the characters in the dungeons.
Exactly.
What's the point? Pokemon Quest is perfect on your phone because you can just kind of set it to go and then be like, ooh.
Yeah,
I can tap
boring,
one thing every once in a while. It's a little boring.
Is Dragalia Lost on the Switch? What if I've been complaining about this? And
I don't think so. I think it's phone only. But it kind of like I like Nintendo has had like people were like, "Oh no, Nintendo's finally going to start developing from mobile now that Iwata-san died." He was the only thing holding Nintendo back from becoming a shitty company, and then they come out with games like Fire Emblem Heroes, which is above average for a phone game, definitely. Dragalia Lost, also definitely above average for a phone game. Like, it's not like spectacular. It's not like Super Mario Odyssey or anything like that, but it obviously didn't take away their resources for developing shit like Super Mario Odyssey. It's just more stuff that they're making and more good stuff that they're making. So, like, Nintendo is a good developer all around.
Yeah, but I can see the concern too.
Yeah,
because this
game
understand
the concern.
This game, and Fire Emblem Heroes definitely has like that mobile gambling problem. They have the hookups for it. Like whether or not, like if you have a problem with that kind of idea in the first place, you're going to have a problem with it, right? Yeah. So like, I don't know, but you can be a Warframe where you have meaningful content added that people care about and it's generally free, and you can have like fucking Clash of Clans, which is pay to win. So I don't know. There's definitely a range, and I think they're in a better spot compared to most mobile games, but like there's still always that worry. So I understand.
Every Nintendo mobile game that I have played has given you a lot of free currency too, like free pay currency too, which is nice. See, what I like they did with Dragalia Lost's paid currency is Dragalia Lost paid currency could just be used as a substitute for pretty much any currency, it seems. Whereas they have a lot of currencies that you can also just farm. Like there's nothing that you can buy with exclusively that currency.
I think there is.
That I know of. It really?
Yeah, I think there is some stuff like that you can only buy
boosts or something, or new stories maybe.
No, I don't think they get content like that. It is all like, I don't know. There's items and stuff that you can get. I don't know. Okay. There's definitely like, in the store area. There's definitely an area for it. So.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah. So why don't we move on to news?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, we don't have very much. I was able to compile a couple more new movie stories before we went on. Mostly stuff
Alright.
about George Romero.
Yeah, why don't we just
yeah.
start with movie stories? Go ahead, Phil.
Okay. So the first thing is that CBS is going to try and put more stuff on its CBS All Access that they're trying really hard with. And what they're trying really hard with is Star Trek. So they're going to put a new Star Trek animated series on CBS All Access. And I have to ask if CBS knows why anyone ever at any point in time actually enjoyed Star Trek. And the answer is I don't think so.
What?
Anyway,
Yeah, but
moving on.
but I don't know. Like an animated Star Trek might be fun.
Maybe. I feel like you need a Star Trek not run by fucking Alex Kurtzman to have like a joke Star Trek, but that's just me.
I don't necessarily.
So, yeah.
Well, it doesn't need to be a joke Star Trek just because it's animated.
Oh, but it is going to be a joke Star Trek. This is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, but even
Like,
still,
that's
it could
actually
have
what
a
it
comedy.
states,
It could
stated
have
to
a
me.
comedy vibe without being
But without
nothing but
Without
comedy.
being a joke about Star Trek?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But it's like legitimately being made to be a joke about Star Trek. Like that was some of the stuff the article talked about.
Huh.
I don't know. I think that there's potential anyway. But I don't really. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that we'll have to wait and see on.
Right. The next thing, the reason I linked this specific article from it, Filmstruck is going to die, and that's horribly sad. Speaking of the fucking streaming services, one of the good ones, which is very, very specialized and had a reason for being, is unfortunately going to die. Filmstruck, if you didn't know, was the Criterion and Turner Classic Movies' response to Netflix, where they had a bunch of Criterion movies and Turner Classic movies, focusing more on classic and older, less-known films, and more modern, less-known films than Netflix, which was going to be purely, Netflix stuff. Unfortunately, this kind of fell apart, and it's closing, and that's sad. Rest in peace, Filmstruck. We loved you while you existed. You gave us some good fucking remasters of shit, and you were a great place to get all of the Criterion movies where you didn't have to buy a fucking box set for $200 goddamn dollars.
Backing up to the
Rest
Star
in
Trek
peace.
thing for a second, I love this quote that's like, it's an animated show at its core, but it's undeniably Trek. And I promise not to add an episode at the very end that reveals the whole thing took place in a training program.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Star Trek did that?
I can't think of any of them.
Was it Deep Space Nine?
I feel like that it was probably not Deep Space Nine. I feel
not
like
Deep Space Nine. We watched.
Yeah,
that
I'm pretty
has to
sure
be a
the end of-
reference to something. Come on.
I'm pretty sure
I
that
don't
in the end of Deep Space Nine, Cisco was just in a training program the whole time.
He was just in a mental institution the whole time.
Yeah. Back in the
Alright,
19-
was right.
back in the
Back in the
1950s.
1950s, he was too busy being racist on. He tried to write Deep Space Nine, but couldn't. He got put into a mental institution. You're not allowed to publish this shit. You fucking
Yeah.
piece of shit bastard. Fuck you. Those were. I'm making jokes about it. Those were good.
Yeah,
ass
we make
episodes.
jokes, but there were like 4 episodes that were just used Cisco thinking he was in the 1950s writing Deep Space Nine as a framing device.
And they were good
Yeah.
as hell.
They were really good.
Yeah. Fuck, Deep Space Nine was incredible. Go watch Deep Space Nine. So yeah, rest in fucking peace, Filmstruck. It's sad that you're dead.
Unfortunate.
You were beautifully loved. You were a one of the few streaming services that wasn't a massive fucking cash in for no reason. Rest in peace.
Was it even
because of the
making?
fact-
Was it just not making a lot of money though?
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. That's the problem. It was a fucking streaming service that wasn't a giant fucking cash in for no reason, so it didn't make any money.
Well, then I don't
Yeah,
think
but
the
I feel
giant
like-
fucking cash-ins for no reason are going to make much money either.
Yeah,
Well,
That's the problem
fair
with them.
enough.
I feel like if it's hard to. I mean, yeah, it sucks that they're gone, but it's hard to blame them when they're not making money. You know, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they are
They were a very
business.
it was a very, very specialized streaming service. Not a lot of people are going to want a streaming service so that they can watch their favorite fucking French expressional. No, that's I was about to say expressionalist again, and the Germans did the expressionist movement. The French just did the new wave. I'm sorry, I have a cross burned into my forehead, so I can't think. Anyway, next, moving on. The next one is about George Miller, and this is gonna make Dalsson sad. George Miller is George Miller is going to be holding off on doing Mad Max sequels so that he can work on original projects, which, I mean, good for him, though, for real.
Yeah, he's a really good director, but
I'm glad that he's doing his own original thing. And the next is a direct follow-up.
I'm gonna be as old as Frank Miller is now by the next Mad Max movie.
The next thing is a follow-up because I think someone got a hold of Frank Miller somehow by busting down his door. People were trying to call him and get interviews, and he was like, "Leave his fucking phone line alone. I don't want to talk to anybody. Fuck up. I'm trying to make my movies. We just want to know what movie. Shut the fuck up," and hangs up. So someone finally busted down his door and interviewed him, and he mentioned that he is making a movie called The 3,000 Years of Longing. We don't know fucking anything about it, but it's going to be, quote, an epic, and it's going to be a Frank Miller movie. And his last movie was really, really good, so I'm excited.
That's cool.
So yeah, the next movie is a new movie. Is going to be written and directed by Taylor Sheridan, who previously wrote and directed Wind River. Was the writer for the first Sicario and also the second one, and was a writer for the fucking movie about robbing banks that I don't remember what its name was, but it was really good and I loved it. Anyway, this new movie that he's going to be making is going to be, and I quote, following a former Special Forces commando who was recruited by the DEA to lead a Black Ops strike team targeting drug dealers who are protected by the CIA, which sounds like the most Taylor fucking Sheridan thing he
And
could
the best
possibly
part
write.
of it is Chris Pratt is in talks to star in it, so
Which
I'll
is
watch it no
crazy.
matter what it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, but it's like, that's crazy. And at first I thought this was the other Chris. The Chris who had worked with him on the previously mentioned movie that I can't remember. Hell or High Water, that was it. Jeff fucking Bridges and Chris Pine in it.
I feel like Chris Pratt has enough. I feel like he has enough range that he can be serious. It's just nobody wants to use him that way a lot of the time.
Absolutely. I completely agree. My thing was, I was just surprised that it wasn't Chris Pine because he'd worked with Chris Pine before.
I feel like all of the Chris's have been around a lot.
Fair enough.
Chris Hemsworth is in everything lately.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah.
Which is good because he's probably the least popular Avenger. Well, I don't know. After Ragnarok, but
yeah. After Ragnarok, he popped up because Ragnarok was fun. The next one.
Hemsworth is Thor, right?
Yes.
yes.
How is Thor the least popular Avenger?
His first two movies were kind of meh at best.
Okay, fair enough.
The next piece of news. Luca Guadagnino reveals that he has an idea for a Suspiria prequel, and Amazon will fund it if the new Suspiria makes enough money. And that's the reason I wanted to talk about it is it's not fucking playing anywhere. It's not goddamn playing anywhere in Amazon. You have a service. You could put it up on your fucking service and do the Mandy thing, which actually made a lot of money, but you're not. I want to see the movie, and you're not fucking letting me. Amazon, you gotta fucking work with me here, man. I want to give money to this fucking thing that you let come out, but you won't fucking let me do that. Listen.
Okay, so if Suspiria gets over an 88 on Rotten Tomatoes, then we'll give you money to do more, and we'll get you a huge bonus. Release it now! Release it now! Well, it's not done yet. Release it!
Well, here's the thing. I think they let Luca Guadagnino do whatever they wanted. But the thing is like they're looking at box office numbers, and they're playing it in like 5 fucking theaters across the United States. They are not fucking distributing this movie very good to a lot of places, and I would like to watch it, but they're not letting me, and that sucks. If they put it on like a streaming service and you had to pay, it would make more money. Amazon. hey, hello,
Mhm,
can I
mhm.
watch your fucking movie, please? So, yeah, anyway. I think that's about it for movie news. There was very, very little. In fact, like, because of the fact that I knew I was gonna do the makeup thing, that was gonna take up a lot of time that I usually use to fucking look for movie news. I looked yesterday, I couldn't find shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not much stuff.
There's really not any fucking.
It's not a ton of gaming news, but we'll
scraping.
Yeah,
get
someone
to
just
it.
talked about to fucking George Miller and that's it. But go through the game news now.
All right. Red Dead Redemption. There is some PC files that they've dug up through the companion app that points to not only a PC version of the game, but potentially Oculus Rift support.
That doesn't surprise me too much.
Okay.
Yeah, we already kind of knew that probably it's coming to PC, although you never really know, but...
So, an interesting thing about VR support, like, something that I've heard about this game is this is the most immersive shit that Rockstar has ever made. Like, you have to do shit like wash your clothes, and if you don't wash your clothes, people will comment on you being smelly. Like,
yeah.
Good. I
Like, all
swear
kinds
there
of
was
weird
something
shit.
like that in the original game. I
If it
don't
gets-
remember what it was.
if it gets really cold, your horse's testicles, which are fully rendered and modeled, will shrink
In 4 fucking K,
in
you know.
4 fucking K.
Well, that's only if
4K
you
horse
have
balls,
a stallion, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, why wouldn't you get a stallion so you could just immerse
Yeah,
yourself
they put a
in the
lot of
4K horse
work.
ball?
They put a lot of work
A
into
lot
this.
of work. Apparently, like I've seen screenshots of the horse balls, and it's like it's more lovingly rendered than the rest of the horse.
I don't want to talk about horse balls. Let's move on.
Understandable. Completely
fair enough.
understandable.
So, PlayStation Classic. We finally have a full list of games on it.
Good.
Classic has 2 S's in it. And
Yay,
it has
that's
some
really
really
solid.
good ones in it.
Yay!
I'm just
As you'd
gonna
hope
list
it would.
I'm just gonna list all of them real quick. Is that fine?
Yeah, go right the fuck ahead.
Battle Arena Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy 7,
As you do.
Grand Theft Auto,
First one.
yeah, Intelligent Cube, which is the only game on this, or one of like 2 games on this list I don't recognize. Jumping Flash, which I've also never heard of. Metal Gear Solid.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, what the
Mr.
hell's
Driller. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey.
So
Rayman
you can
1.
finally own another copy of it.
Rayman 1, which I had and hated.
What?
I hated the first Rayman. Resident Evil Director's Cut. Revelations Persona, that is Persona 1.
Yeah.
Ridge Racer Type 4. Actually, is that Persona 1? Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought Persona 1 was like Shin Megami Tensei something Persona.
No, Shin Megami Tensei is a.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is the first entry in Persona series.
Okay, alright, yeah.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei is a different game than Persona.
I could have swore it was
no. Shin Megami
same
Tensei
universe, yeah.
Persona since Persona 3.
They're the
It's been Shin Megami Tensei Persona
Megami
3.
Tensei.
They
yeah.
are the same. They're the same universe, but Persona is a spin-off of Shin Megami.
Shin Megami Tensei, yeah, which is why, if I remember right, it was like Shin Megami Tensei Revelations Persona. Like this
It
long-ass
may
title.
be. I'm not sure. At least since
I was like that for the
Persona
second
3,
one.
they've definitely had SMT in the title. But
Yeah.
Right.
Ridge Racer
It's like
Type
in
4.
Persona 4 when they stopped that.
Yeah.
Ridge Racer 4. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. Siphon Filter, which, man, I do not look forward to going back to that, especially with no analog sticks.
Oh God.
Tekken 3. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. It's the first one.
Siege.
Twisted Metal, which is a fucking great ad.
Yes.
Oh yes, finally, good.
Although I would have gone with Twisted Metal 2, but
Yeah, but you know.
especially since they went with Cool Borders too. And Wild Arms.
Cool.
So I'm actually like really surprised how good this list is. Like, because I was from some of the early stuff, I was like, I don't know about it. Like I think we initially heard like Tekken and like Ridge Racer, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's good, but I don't know. And then so them adding Twisted Metal and Metal Gear Solid. Like, those are really solid additions.
So my question is, what does the disc tray do?
Nothing.
But there's a button that says open.
Yeah, it probably just doesn't do anything.
All right.
There's a button that says open, and it
opens the disc tray, and you can put a disc in it, but it doesn't do anything.
I assume
$200.
Yeah, what if you open it and it's just nothing in it? It just opens for no reason.
It's just like a little happy face.
Yeah, there's like a little icon of what it would look like if there was a disc tray.
Yeah.
No, I just assume that it wouldn't do anything because
right, it just made to look like the old one.
Yeah, it's made to look like the original PlayStation. So
another piece of movie news that I kind of forgot about because it was kind of obvious. Thom Yorke's new album, Suspiria, released the same time as the movie did because it's an album for the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's not news.
That's all I had to say about that. It's good.
That's not news.
Last bit of gaming news. Do you have something else?
No,
yeah.
Oh.
I do have something else that just to fill out a little teeny bit of time. Warframe's new expansion is coming out very soon. They are currently running an augmented reality game, which is cool. I love that shit. It was going nowhere for a while. They've been basically putting hidden messages in their update posts, and then anybody who decoded the hidden message would get a question, and if they answered that question, they'd get an invite to a Discord server where they're playing the rest of the augmented reality game. They're doing shit like hiding an image in sound files and stuff like that. It's pretty
hate ARGs. They're always garbage and they're terrible and I hate them always.
Okay.
That's how I feel about ARGs.
Okay. But if you're interested in playing, you'll probably find a Discord invite floating around there somewhere.
Let's be real. Anybody who cares about that ARG is probably already a part of it.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know why you said that before I did the last piece of news, but 2B, 2B is being added to Soul Calibur 6.
Yes.
Neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now now we're gonna see 2B and Geralt fucking fight each other.
Yeah. We sure will.
2B and fucking 2B versus Darth Vader.
Apparently, along with
no Darth Vader,
several items for the Create a Soul feature, including Emil's head, which will just be perfect. Everybody's gonna be using that in the Create a Soul, your custom fighter character.
Yeah.
City Ruins stage.
Yeah.
Why would they use City Ruins? That was like the worst locale in that fucking game.
Well, that was the main locale, so...
I know, and it was awful.
Yeah. I don't know. Who cares? It's a fighting game. The fucking stage doesn't matter at all.
They should have used the, that one room that was like the mall, the abandoned mall.
Oh, yeah. See, that would have been a good choice.
Yeah. Unless it looks like that, and I don't know. Totally possible.
I don't think so.
But... yeah, they should have done that instead of just a fucking... I hope it's not just buildings in the background.
Yeah.
Because I was sick of that when I was playing it. There was just buildings in the background and you couldn't interact with them or do anything.
Yeah.
Half the time you would try to go through a door and it would be an invisible wall and you'd be like, why?
It would be a building. You turn a corner into a building and it's another building!
You have to admit, a lot of the other locations in that game looked good. But the city section was the worst because it looked like it was nothing but pre-made assets just plopped all over the place.
Yeah. It's true.
And that's it for news. We're done with news. Wow, we're like a solid 2 hours.
Yeah, right on time.
Which means we're gonna be under by like 10 minutes, but...
whatever.
So, why don't we talk about what's coming up this week? I forget what week we're on. Thel, what are you working on? You just did your Amnesia video, right?
Yeah, I just had my Amnesia come out. I'm probably on Friday going to put out the one spooky video that I already edited. I gotta remember to put that on YouTube so it can go out on Friday so I don't forget it. Like I want to
Right.
pre-schedule it soon because it's like ready to go, but it's gonna
You'll
come out on
forget.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't
Okay,
don't accidentally have it come out at midnight like I did with the podcast last week.
Yeah.
How about you, Dalsson? What you got
For
coming
my
up?
Twitch channel, if you are watching this live, then Tuesday, October 30th, I will be streaming Fallout for the Fallout 76 for the entire beta period, which is only 4 hours. I believe it's 4 Pacific time to 8 Pacific time. If you're watching it pre-recorded, then there is another event that runs on Thursday. I believe 11 a.m. to some other fucking time. I'll be streaming it that day too because I took the day off work specifically for this.
For Fallout? Is that what
For
we're talking
Fallout.
about? Okay.
Yeah.
I stopped paying attention, so.
Yeah. So expect Fallout 76 for the hours that the beta period is open this week. Beyond that, I don't really have a plan. I can't stop thinking about Fallout 76, so. Yeah.
Maybe I should play some Fallout 4.
Maybe.
Get myself in the mood.
Yeah.
We also still have not made our way back to MapleStory yet, which I still want to,
which we
but
want to do.
Yeah, we definitely do.
yeah, and so stuff. Yeah.
It sure is.
I guess that's it for us this week. Unless you guys have anything else?
No, that's it. I'm good.
All right, then we're gonna head out, and remember, as always,
stay beautiful.